All right, hey everybody, it's JJ the Lonely Bull in Asia with another video here. Today I'm with my friend here in BGC Manila Philippines. This is Eddie. How you doing, Eddie?
Good. How
Good.
are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
We're going to talk a little bit about you. It's all about you today. So tell me, first of all, tell me where you're from, what your background is, where you're from, and that kind of thing.
I'm from Southern California, Los Angeles County, suburb. So I've been here maybe, what, a year? 13 months, yeah.
Okay.
And no longer working, retired, which is good. I retired young, obviously. So I'm enjoying it here.
Okay, so what were you doing when you were in the States?
I was a trial attorney.
Okay. In Southern Cal, in SoCal.
In SoCal, yeah.
Okay, how long were you doing that?
Oh, I can't tell you that. Many years.
Many years.
Decades.
Okay.
Decades.
All right. So you're successful?
I was successful. I was good at what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was good at what I did.
So you retired early. So what
Yes.
made you decide to retire?
I figured, let's get out of a stressful occupation. Litigation, it's stressful. You're fighting with insurance companies, you're fighting with the other attorney, you're fighting with everyone, you're fighting with your own client at times. So I figured, let's get out of the stressful environment and seek some peacefulness, some serenity. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you then, why did you decide to come to the Philippines?
Well, the Philippines was not my first destination. My first destination was actually Costa Rica at the end of 2021.
Okay.
I figured, hey, let's check out Costa Rica. I came to discover that my Spanish is not quite good. It was, más o menos, no bueno. So it wasn't good enough to live, in a Spanish environment, a purely Spanish environment. So that took me to Asia. So from Costa Rica to Asia, I started off in Thailand, lived in Phuket for a month, and I like Phuket. I like the beach in Phuket, the beaches in Phuket, but it doesn't really have the infrastructure I was looking for. It doesn't have the shopping centers, the conveniences that BGC has, for example. So.
Okay. All right. So when were you in Phuket? What was the dates you were there?
I was there March of 2022. Yes, March of 2022 for 1 month.
Okay, 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yes.
And then it only took you a month to decide that that's not for you?
Yeah. I also checked out some other cities in Thailand, such as Hua Hin, which I really like. Hua Hin was a beach city as well as Phuket. It just had more of a community feel, where Phuket felt like it was tourism and a lot of transients, visitors basically coming in for a week then leaving.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that Hua Hin seemed like more of a community. Yeah.
Okay.
So I do intend to return to Hua Hin for a third time, sometime in the near distant future. Yes.
Okay. So tell me, when you were in the U.S., what was the deciding factor that made you say, I'm going to, Costa Rica, or I'm going to Asia, or whatever it was? What was it that made you decide, I want to leave the U.S.?
Well, that's a complicated question.
That's what I'm about. I'm about
yes,
complicated
you
questions.
definitely are. It was a situation where I grew disenchanted with the whole social life. A lot of paranoia in California, in Southern California. A lot of polarization, Democrats hating Republicans. It just wasn't a real feel-good scenario, psychologically. There's neuroses and paranoia, and everyone's concerned about their safety. Everyone's carrying guns. So I just felt like there's a more peaceful place for me, and I kind of lost my purpose in Southern California. I was no longer working, so I felt like I needed to seek at least serenity, if not purpose, elsewhere. Yeah.
And this was, what year was this again?
This was in November of 2021. I made the leap.
Okay.
From America, yes.
All right. So that was in the middle of, the C word, in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes.
So there weren't a lot of opportunities for you to travel overseas at the time, right? I mean, there were a lot of restrictions, weren't there?
It wasn't too bad, actually. My timing was pretty good. I had been really hitting the Latin countries like Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, as I mentioned. during COVID because they were essentially unrestricted. So you could go to Cabo San Lucas or Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, wherever you wanted to go in Mexico. It was freewheeling. So no masks. It just seemed more free and liberal-minded than the U.S. and all of its paranoia. So yeah, so that was my initial outlet was the Latin countries, and then from there I transitioned to Asia. Once Asia loosened up, by the time I got to the Philippines, for example, in May of 2022 and March of 2022, I came here for a couple of weeks before moving here, but all of the COVID stuff had been pretty much resolved. You could come and go. Yeah.
What kind of did you do any research, or what did you do to decide to come this way, to come to Asia? What was your deciding factors?
Yeah.
Plural.
I really didn't do research. I'm kind of an impulsive, intuitive guy, so I kind of go by the seat of my bridges. Somewhat of a gambler. Seat of my britches, I should say. But yeah. So it was just kind of a feel. And I was, like I said, kind of tasting Thailand and tasting the Philippines and tasting these various cities and just trying to visualize where would make a good home for me, long term,
Okay. So when you went to Thailand first, you were there about a month, right?
Right.
What made you decide that you wanted to head to Philippines?
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about the lack of infrastructure in Phuket. That was a negative for me. I like the conveniences. I am a city boy at heart, although I love the ocean, so I'm kind of a two-edged sword. Yeah, I enjoyed Phuket, but it just lacked the infrastructure,
Okay, so let's fast forward
Yes.
to, what was it, May of 2022 when you came here?
May of 2022, I moved here.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
the
So
past
tell me,
13 months.
so we're in BGC.
Yes.
Is that where you kind of started here in BGC?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
what was your process of finding a place to stay?
Well, initially I was on Airbnb for 30 days.
Okay.
I did that.
Which, by the way, that's a smart move because you don't want to take something sight unseen and move with a long-term contract, get an Airbnb in a hotel, and then look around to find the right area you want to be in.
Exactly.
And that way you're on, you have boots on the ground, as my friend Gio says, and you can check out these long-term hotels or condos, right there on site, so you can see exactly what they look like in real life. So, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. So I tried an Airbnb for 30 days. I got gouged on the price. I think I was paying 65,000 pesos a month for the first month,
Okay.
the only month.
Which is about, what, 1,300.
Yeah, so that was a 1 month mistake. It included my AC and all the utilities, but it was still a gouge. So I then entered into a long-term lease, 1-year lease at an adjacent building. Yeah, I like the adjacent building better. I'm across the street from the Uptown Mall.
Okay.
If any of you want to come and say hello, I'll buy you a copy.
All right. There you go. Okay, so what was your first impression when you got into BGC?
I was very impressed with BGC. It's clean, it's safe. There's a lot of energy here. I like the modern conveniences. The people are welcoming. You can approach anyone and ask for directions, and everyone is quick to help. So yeah, I really like the ambiance and the hospitality. Yeah.
When you came here, were you planning on long term at the beginning, or were you just looking at short term to see how it went?
I think for the first 30 days, I was looking at short term, see how it goes. And then after that 30 days, I said, I like this area, I can live here. And especially in my long-term lease, I was very happy with the price, $32,000 a month. And, very nice amenities, a swimming pool that gets a lot of sun. So it's a warm pool, warmer than most. And of course, you have the gym and a great location across the street from Uptown Mall.
So 32,000 pesos, in case you don't know, is just under $640 a month, US, right? right?
If you say so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, depending. I mean, the the currency changes all the time. The exchange. You know, I like to look at 50. 50 is a good round figure. So if you look at 50, so 32 would be 640. It's a little better than that now. The rate for the dollar. It's I think about 55.89 or something like that. So it's
Right.
probably just over 600 a month. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about
So that's
right.
pretty good. You can't get that in SoCal.
No,
right?
I was.
I mean, you can, but you're
I was-
living where?
Yeah,
You're living
yeah, I know. I
in an
was-
outhouse, in a
Yeah.
porta potty.
Once I sold my house in Southern California, I then moved into some luxury shopping center home, and I was paying $5,000 a month.
Wow.
Just for rent.
Yeah, that's crazy.
American. Which
Yeah.
I don't know what that translates to.
And that was back when.
That was maybe fall of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was before inflation hit, right? So inflation
Yeah,
really
maybe,
hit
yeah.
in 2022 and not 2023.
I'm sure it's higher now.
Oh, it's got to be higher.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure. It's probably
so you're
6,000.
saving
Yeah.
so much here. So what was it that made you decide that you wanted to stay here?
Well, I think the women certainly was a factor.
And tell me more about that. Expand a little bit on why the women.
Yeah,
What is it about the women that made you want to
I
stay?
think the Filipino culture is just much more nurturing, much more caring. It's just a different feel than the American culture. The American women these days, it's more of a sense of entitlement, and if you do something nice, it's expected, as opposed to, hey, thank you, that was a great gesture. Where Filipinas, I think they just have a certain gratitude, and certainly I'm generalizing now, right? You have all types of Filipinas, of course. You've got the gold diggers on the one extreme, and then you've got the super shy, homebody types. So, but I did find a nice Filipina, and we actually cohabitated for 6 months. She had her own money, she was bright, she was attractive, she was naturally much younger than me. But ultimately, our lack of common interests was our downfall, was the ending for me. I had to break things off, and like I said, she was a great gal. Nothing but good things to say about her, but I think ultimately there has to be a compatibility of lifestyle, and I think that's where we went astray.
Okay, so so let's focus a little bit on the Filipina here and what you've found, because I know a lot of I get probably the majority of my listeners or my viewers are in the U.S. or overseas,
Yes.
and they're looking at coming here, or maybe they have a LDR, a long distance relationship with a Filipina here. But you talked about the different types of Filipinas you've come across. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what you found and how that's affected you.
Well, certainly, I've learned that my radar has to be really on point. You have to know the red flags to look for, and you obviously want to make sure of the gender confirmation, and so
Great.
oh, so we were talking about just the experiences of being a little
Cautious.
discerning. Never send money. Certainly, I've made that mistake. I haven't sent a lot of money. The most I've sent is maybe $20 or $30. I haven't been a complete fool and sent $1,000 or something of that nature. But I've made a few mistakes along the way. You know, hey, just send me bus transportation. I'll come and see you, and then you're ghosted. So, a word of warning: do never send money to someone you haven't met in person. That would be my number one recommendation for all of those foreign men following my footsteps. Yes.
Okay. So you've had some scams. Okay. but
for sure.
they're not all scams, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
So let's talk about the good side. Let's talk about the success stories, or however you want to put it.
Yeah, I think once again there's just a certain compatibility that I have with Filipinos. I think they appreciate a sense of tradition, and I'm not saying I'm some kind of chauvinist who believes, men rule. I don't. I think women are as good, if not better, than men as a whole. But there's a unique role that each plays in society, and I think that role has been obscured and lost in America. So that was one of my draws, one of my attractions here. I thought that traditional uniqueness, distinction between men and women is still recognized. So yeah, that's a big positive that I found in my dating experiences. Yes.
All right, let's talk about your dating experience. How's that been for the year you've been here?
Do we have 3 hours?
Let's try to encapsulate it.
No, I joke. Like I said, I was in a long-term relationship.
For about 6 months, right?
Yeah, we still haven't dated for 6 months, and I'm not a big casual dater, but you have to make the rounds. You have to interview these women. You have to vet them, as they say in politics. You have to make sure that what you're looking for is who they are. I think with experience in dating, you end up learning what you can live with, what you want to live with, what you cannot tolerate. And for me, I'm now finding myself looking at compatibility of lifestyle. I think I may have already mentioned that term, but I think that's a huge component for long-term success in a relationship. So that's something that me being single, ladies, that's certainly something that I'm focused upon. That compatibility of lifestyle. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I'm not really a drinker. I don't smoke. I don't vape. So those are things that I'm really focused on when it comes to interviewing women on a first date or first meeting.
Okay, all right. So you said interview. Do you feel like it's an interview?
I don't think they feel like it's an interview. I think, I'm pretty adept at conversation. So, but underneath all of the fluff and charm, and occasional wit, I am fact-finding. I am trying to discern the truth because, like I said, I have been scammed a couple of times, a few times, several times. So you have to be on guard. You have to be wise.
Do you think that they are also in that interview mode too, to some extent, or do you think that they're more, I don't know, just on the surface what they feel that you are?
I think they are a little more. I don't know what the term is, like base level. In other words, if they feel comfortable and relaxed, and that's key, right? I always make them feel comfortable and relaxed, or that's my goal at least. I think once you get them feeling comfortable and relaxed, then you're not overthinking it. I think I'm the one that's always analyzing. I think for most Filipinas, they kind of know your background before they meet, so they know that I was this or that in the United States, and I have two, older children back in the U.S. So they kind of already got the basic facts about who I am. So they're not so much on a fact-finding mission, but rather a feel mission. In other words, if they feel in it, they're feeling some physical chemistry, perhaps. Then it's all good. It's a go. At my discretion, essentially.
Right. So what is it you're looking for in a woman or in a Filipina? What are you looking for?
Wow, the eternal question.
This is your date site right here
my
now.
Date site, yeah. So I'm really looking for loyalty, energy, affection. Basic stuff. Somebody who has some interest in traveling, and maybe even giving up their job and just being a full-time companion and just enjoying life. I think the work hours here and the pay that these women are earning is abysmal. And it's like, look, if you're making 10,000 peso a month, I'll give you 10,000 peso a month to quit your job. It's like, and you know, enjoy life. It just seems like the work ethic is so strong here by the employers, essentially. The employers demand so much of their employees that I just don't think it's a quality of life. But these Filipinas seem like they just go along with the system. And I can't blame them. Obviously, they need to eat, they need food, they need their needs met. So I don't blame them. But they have such a good attitude working these long hours, the 60-hour work weeks. It's you know, for me, I rarely work 60 hours in a month. So, you know, it's just, I admire them, and I almost feel like, hey, I can make your life easier.
Okay, all right. So you're retired full time, right?
I'm retired, yes.
Okay. What are your future plans? You want to stay here in BGC? You want to live somewhere else in the Philippines? You want to go elsewhere? What does Eddie want to do in the future?
I think it really has to do with relationships. If I met somebody here, then that would probably alter the course of my life and hers. It might be something that we would look into relocating to a different country, maybe Vietnam, maybe Thailand. But certainly that would be a discussion that she and I would have. But I'm happy in BGC, definitely happy. But there's a part of me that longs for the beach. I've never lived on the beach, and I love the beach. I love to go in the ocean water every morning and body surf and boogie board, and so that's a part of who I am. That's a deep longing of mine. Yes.
Okay. So what's it going to be then? Have you made that decision yet? Are you going to stay with BGC, or are you going to do the beach thing elsewhere? Other country, maybe?
Yeah, I think, once again, it's going to depend on relationships. I will move mountains to find the right woman and be with the right woman. So if I meet a Filipina, hopefully because of the airing of this video, then I think my decision will be swayed heavily in staying here. Unless, you know, there's plenty of Filipinos that want to move, that want to relocate, that want an easier life, a more luxurious, relaxed lifestyle. So, yeah, once again, I just got to find my match, and I think I will.
What would you ever consider going back to the U.S.?
No.
No?
I go back to the U.S. 2 or 3 times a year to visit my older children and of course my friends and relatives and siblings and all of that, and my mother for that matter. But no, I would never consider living in the U.S. No, just visits.
Okay.
Yes.
What about other countries in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I have been to Thailand and Vietnam, and I still want to see Japan and some other countries, maybe Malaysia. I definitely want to see much of Asia, if not all of Asia. But in terms of living, it would have to be a beach scenario with some sort of infrastructure. That's the thing about the Philippines. There are some nice beaches, but the problem is there's no modern conveniences there. The Wi-Fi is sketchy, so it's kind of a, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of another. So I need the city amenities. I do, but the beach is at my heart. So yeah, one particular city that's popped out is Da Nang of Vietnam. I don't want you all going there, but I don't want to overcrowd it. But I kind of fell in love with that city, and if I meet a Filipina and she's cool with relocating, then that would be a discussion we would have. You know, she could probably convince me to do that, and if she's dead set against it, then we would probably hang here in BGC. Yeah.
Okay, so BGC is a possibility with no beaches, but short flights to beaches or bus rides.
Yeah, I've tried the bus ride to Batangas, and it wasn't my type of a beach.
Yeah.
Not to sound snobby, but you know, having been to Cancun and Cabo San Lucas, you know, south of France, you know, like I said, I love the Philippines, but I could never settle in any local beach area for sure.
All right, so so Philippines would that be your first choice, or it depends on if you have a girl?
It depends on my relationship situation. So I've been single now for a couple of months, and I've met some women, and you know, generally video chats or one meeting, and yeah. So once again, I'm somewhat picky, not in terms of their looks, but just in terms of their lifestyle. Because my last relationship failed because of a difference in lifestyles. She was more of the party type, hard worker, great woman, great family, great earner, but yeah, I'm not really a late night 3 a.m. drinking. That's just not my lifestyle. You know, I'd like to go to the gym. I like to go swimming. I live a very active lifestyle.
All right, so here's your platform for the last 60 seconds or so.
Yes.
Tell me what you're looking for in a woman. So you're a single guy,
Right.
single, ready to mingle, here in BGC Philippines,
Right.
Metro Manila. What are you looking for?
Well, you asked that question earlier.
Platform is
So,
yours.
I don't want to be redundant.
Talk to the women right there.
I don't want to be redundant, but it's just really about energy and just, you know, like I said, similar lifestyle.
What about physicality?
Well, I am, I don't know, 190.
Short, tall, thin.
Okay. If you want to break it down
I want to break it.
superficially.
I want to get it.
Okay.
Right. I want to do the physicality
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
Because you already talked about the
Okay.
rest.
The traits, yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Okay, physically, I'm not super particular, but
Okay.
I'm tall and kind of on a, you know, athletic build, I would say. I'm, you know, 190 centimeters, 90 kilometers, kilos?
Kilometers?
90 kilos.
Kilos.
90 kilos.
kg.
So, you know, so I tend to gravitate towards slender, you know, fit, and height is irrelevant. You know, we're all the same height if we're laying down. So,
Spoken
yeah.
like a true passport bro.
So physically, yeah. So physically, and yeah. So I think it's, you know, I think when two people meet, I think the chemistry. If the chemistry's there, then the physical attraction will definitely heat up, right? It's one leads to the other, I think.
Right.
So it's not just about physicality, because you know, if you're dating a supermodel and she's taking selfies the entire date.
That's not your thing, then.
No, that's not my thing. I'm really not into like a big glamour type of girl. I like more.
TikTokers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not
to the
they
extreme.
can't. They can't be obsessed with TikTok. But I like a natural beauty. I like a girl that can, or a young woman, I should say, that can go out without makeup even, and just, you know, be comfortable in her own skin. I don't like it where they have to take 2 hours to go out for a cup of coffee, putting on makeup.
That's the beauty of Asian women and Filipinos in particular. They don't really need the makeup. They have that natural beauty. I mean, yeah, they use makeup, they use the eyelashes and that sort of thing, and that it enhances their looks. But a lot of them they don't need that. My opinion.
I would not disagree with that. Not on camera.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add before we call it a good?
No, I'm just happy that I found the Lonely Bulls YouTube channel. It's changed my